Yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Lil Moon. So I know this is not well. I know this is probably not gonna be placed, but I want to do this tutorial anyways. Um, of how to play LMode. Sorry if I sound really sad. Things aren't looking good in my life. So I just wanna get this over with and continue because I'm very busy and stuff happens. So basically I'm gonna explain it with pain because I am not in the mood to play all mode right now. You basically have 4 characters to deal with principally. Those are those are Sprout, Music Bar. I'm gonna be calling him Ember. Lone Lenny. We're gonna just call him Lenny. And I. We're gonna call him I because it's really short. So basically, these 4 characters, Musical, Lenny, Sprout, and I. These characters are the main thread of the night because they are the 3 only characters that require some degree of skill to play against them. Lenny is the oddball here, but I decided to put him here because with our strategy, Lenny fits really well, and it's really constant. It's as constant as Ember, so he's here for that reason. It's not skill based, but dealing with him it's skill based. So basically, imagine you have this line. This line represents the time of the night, and you have so basically the first thing you wanna do is manage Sprout well. The basic loop of the night is managing Sprout well while managing everything well. If you don't know how to manage Sprout, you are not prepared to manage these 3. So basically, I'm gonna mark these points in the night. Okay, these are second marks. So this is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 seconds, for example. Okay, so these seconds are written in green because that's the color of Sprout. When you are in the seconds, you have to deal with the Sprout. What I mean with this is, imagine you have Sprout here. Okay, I'm gonna do a little drawing of him, of it, sorry. I am not good with params. So if you have a Sprout here, if for example you are in 0.5 seconds, you don't really have to be in Sprout. However, if you are about to enter the 1 second, you are about to enter this, your cursor has to be in Sprout in this interval. So the chances of Sprout growing increases from 1 in 50, which is basically impossible to win at this rate, to 1 in 10, which then the Sprout became free. So it's very important to always have the cursor in the second intervals. Now, having this planned out, in the dead time between seconds, you're gonna have to deal with Ember and Lenny. Basically, first we're gonna start with Ember. We're gonna do a little drawing of Ember right here. So imagine this is Ember, and you have to pay attention to 2 points specifically. When the bar is here, about 30% or 35%, and when the bar is here, when it's almost empty, like less than 5%, basically what you want to do is if it's less than 30%, like if it's less than here, every time you are not in a second, like here, you're gonna click short. You're gonna do little clicks instead of holding. So this is holding a click. Okay, you don't want to do this, you want to do this. Okay, and the next second you go to sprout, and then you click again really short 4 times. So basically, imagine this is a gameplay of the game. So you're 1 second, and this 1 second passes, 1, 2, 3, 4, come 2 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 seconds. This is only if it's below 30%. If at some point the bar refills itself higher than 30%, you stop and you manage to sprout normally. If it's below 5%, you're changing this behavior into holding. This is important because if you are doing this well, if you are managing music bar well and managing sprout well, you have no risk of dying to eye. We'll get to him later, but basically minor. If it's less, wait, I messed up this one, sorry. If it's less than 5%, you have to hold until it's greater than 30%. When it's greater, you stop and you go back to doing the minus 30% strat. Now that we have this, we are gonna talk about I first instead of Lamoleni. Basically, I also acts in 1 second intervals. I'm gonna be marking them like this. I acts in these intervals, and this is actually really good because in the music bar strat, you are basically only clicking a music bar when you are not in the second intervals. So, and you are also dealing with the sprout in the second intervals, and you don't need to click a sprout, you only need to hover your mouse over sprout. So basically, what this means, imagine this is I, okay? I is closed, so you're basically doing this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And if you notice, while I'm clicking, I is not capable of killing me because I'm clicking out of the opportunities that I can open. Now, if you are about to enter a second and you're in a sprout, you are going to go to music bar, and then suddenly what happens? I opens. At the time you are moving your mouse from sprout to music bar, which is around 0.2 seconds or less, your eyes have to be on I. You have to be very careful with I, because if you move your mouse and you don't notice I is there, you may click it when it's open. So you have plenty of time to react to him. If you see open, just don't click and stay in sprout. This is perfect in our strategy because if you're doing the minus 30% and I opens, it will never kill. If you get unlucky and it is less than 30%, like on a frog, okay, well, it can kill, but it is lower than this, you're basically dead. But if you're following the music bar strat as we speak, this is really unlikely to happen. Also, a side note, there's a character called Blackout. We're gonna that will turn on and off every second. So we say it turns on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. So blackout can help us track the second intervals, because every time he activates, it's really easy to notice. So you don't need to watch the timer or eye, because maybe it's too hard. You just need to notice when the screen goes darker or lighter, so you know, oh, a second has passed. So then it's more easy to track eye and track the second interval, so you don't mess up a sprout or eye. And then finally, music learning, in my opinion, is the easiest one of them, but it's really necessary to explain. Basically, to deal with low learning, we'll say music bar is here, okay, at the bottom, and low learning's wheel is here, okay. This is the wheel. Basically, low learning, whenever you click it, it will rotate, and every wheel rotation will last between 60 to 240 frames estimated, because it can last longer if you are unlucky. But having this in mind, and having in mind that it can last longer, it means that every spin tends to last between 2 to 3 seconds, most likely to be in the range of 2.5 seconds approximately, which means if you are in Sprout and you see 1 and you click low learning, you will click it maybe like this, and then it will be 0, 1, 2.5, and you click it here, and you can see that it doesn't interfere with the second interval of Sprout or eye. So basically, what this can mean, this is not 100% consistent. This is just an estimation. But what this can mean is that you can deal with Sprout like 0, click low learning, 1 music bar, 2 music bar low learning, then music bar, then low learning, and if you're first now, you can go to 3, and so you can deal with 2 of them without missing a Sprout interval. And if you do it right and it's consistent, you will see 0, 1, 2.5, and it repeats itself. An easy way to do this consistently is knowing the fact that if you click outside low learning, imagine you clicked here, but then hover your mouse over low learning while holding the click, this counts as the click in low learning, so it will start the spinning. This means you can buffer low learning, so imagine it's spinning and you hold the click and it stops spinning, so regardless it will start spinning again almost instantly in the next frame, because you are buffering the input. Same with music bar. If you are holding outside music bar and go into music bar, it will count as you already clicking music bar. This will only work once with low learning. So if you're holding outside and then going inside and then go outside, while holding, if you go inside again, it will not work. You will have to refresh your click before going inside again, but this will never happen, because you're supposed to hold click. Imagine you're here, okay, so you're supposed to wait until 3 seconds, move from Sprout to music bar, start holding here, then here for like 0.2, and then went out while holding click to low Lenny to keep it spinning, and then going back, releasing the click in between this action. This is what I call the triangle, because if we erase everything that we did, base is literally a triangle. You see, it makes a triangle form, so it's very easy to do. If you played Finite Candy 3, you know this move, but in inverse, so you can easily do this one. This, however, you only are gonna play this strat if music bar is below 30%, and you know you can do the 4 clicks that we mentioned earlier, these 4 clicks. What you're gonna do is, instead of doing small clicks, you're gonna go to music bar and then do a similar click, maybe equivalent to this, and then go to low Lenny, click it, and then go to sprout, only if you know that low Lenny is about to end his spin. This has a flaw, that is, if music bar goes below 5% in these clicks, because that can happen, you have to react really fast. Maybe you can click Lenny and then come back, deal with music bar, and then deal with sprout. But if you do that, maybe the click between that surpass the interval, and you are risking an eye attack, and you're of course missing a sprout. Maybe you can, the thing what I will do in that situation is just don't go to low Lenny and refill music bar and then go to sprout quickly. You can still miss this interval, but it's less likely because your mouse is more close to sprout than to low Lenny. So yeah. Now this is like the base cycle. This is how you play the knight. And now I'm gonna talk about the other characters pretty quickly, because those are what I call distraction characters. Basically, those are the characters that can break the cycle, the intervals. For example, you have number 10 here. So imagine you are doing you're doing the cycle normally, no? You are with sprout, low Lenny, music bar, etc. And then number 10 appears. What you have to do is ignore it, because it will cycle from 1 to 10. It will do this 2 times. And it's important to ignore it until it lands in the number 10 the second time. Okay, second time. This is because this cycle lasts 20 seconds, and if you wait these 20 seconds, those are overall minus 20 seconds, which if we divide by 10, it's equal to 2 chances that number 10 will not have to spawn itself, so that's useful. So number 10 can desync from the intervals. Normally it appears in the intervals, but when it appears, it may desync and start counting like this. That's okay, because you have a whole second, so you can just adapt and click anywhere between this and this, and you will be fine. Next up, next character is Doom Smile. This is another simple character. You have 5 houses here, like this, and every 5 to 10 seconds it can summon a Doomstorm. When it does that, it will paint the houses. It will paint 1 pink, 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green, and 1 yellow. So when he does this, it will give you 2 seconds to put the stickman in the corresponding house. So, for example, it activates here, and you have until with 0, 1, 2, you have until here to deal with him. No, until here. Yeah, until here. You have until here to deal with him, so you can basically do it in the next second, between, or even a period. And my advice with this is when you're clicking, remember we're doing this triangle strat. My advice is that you break the triangle, and instead of going straight to music bar, you go to one of the houses, like you go to one of the houses, the pink house, obviously, and when you click it, you maintain the click, hold, and then you go to music bar and continue the triangle cycle. If you are doing this, of course. If you are not doing this, just do it normally, and that's it. Now with arrows, it gets tricky in my opinion, because this character it's tricky. To understand arrows correctly, we're gonna pretend that arrows is a bent character, okay? So each of the arrows are like seals of a bend, and you have to select a seal. We're gonna make that this is selecting one to close it, and you only can have one seal closed at a time. So you cannot have this. You have to be this or this. So the arrows will upgrade 3 times. This is, and they're gonna change color depending on the upgrade. This is when we have 1 upgrade, no, 0 upgrades, 1 upgrade, 2 upgrades, and 3 upgrades. What you basically want to do is seal the arrow with the 4th upgrade. Okay, if there are 2 or more, don't worry, just maintain one of them. But if there are no red arrows, you have to prioritize the yellow ones. So forget about these ones. You don't care about 0 and 1, you care about 2 and 3. For example, if we have this setup, what we want to do is the cycle, okay? We're always supposing you're doing the cycle, because if you can do the cycle, you can do it normally, just going here, here, and then here, or maybe here and then here again. But we're assuming we're doing the triangle cycle because it's the hardest thing of the night. Then you go here, here, and here. We're gonna do the same thing with the houses, that you first deal with the arrow that it's in yellow, then music bar, then Normal LMode, then sprout again. This is if it has yellow arrow. It has yellow arrow. Since arrows has a cooldown from 5 to 10 seconds to upgrade, you don't really need to do this. It is recommended, but you don't really need to rush it. It can upgrade in this second and really do it in this range. I don't really care. But if somehow one is red, this is your priority, and you will have to break the triangle cycle, whether you like it or not, because you don't know what will happen in these 5 seconds. Imagine this activates and eye opens the next second, and you don't have any chances of sealing this arrow, and it lasts 6 seconds and then it upgrades and you die. That will be unfortunate. You don't want to do that. So instantly when you see a red arrow, you have to break the cycle or improvise to try to click it while respecting Sprout's intervals. It's tricky because because it is work like houses. You can press it and then go back to music bar while holding, but I will not recommend this because it is better to go to arrow, then go to Normal LMode and then go to Sprout, because from experience arrows tend to sync up very well with Normal LMode and not sync up very well with music bar, because the thing is with houses, houses are a little bit more diagonal than arrows, so the triangle is more comfortable, and also houses align better with music bar and are far from Normal LMode, but arrows are just in the middle of the screen, and going from here to here directly, it's awkward and not efficient. You prefer to go here and then go here and do a reverse triangle, you know? Instead of going first to music bar, then Lenny, you go first Sprout, then the corresponding arrow, then music Normal LMode, then music bar, then go back to Sprout. Of course, if you think that you don't have time, you can go to Normal LMode, then Sprout, then continue with the normal cycle. But if you need to do this, I really don't think you can beat this night, because the odds are against you. No pressure, of course. Then last character I want to talk very quickly, it's question mark. With question mark, you have to forget everything we talk about. Well, I'm gonna talk about clock actually and question mark, because clock acts. Imagine this is when I am. This is this is 60, 120, and then 180. Basically, clock will act 0.5 seconds before the next 60 seconds, so it will act here 59.5, but also it will make a sound at second 59. In this case, it will make a sound cue. This is important because this sound cue acts at the same time as the intervals that we already speaked. So why is this important? This is important not only to track the intervals, but because the 60-second mark is important, because gift here will spawn and you have to accept it or deny it. Now this is really easy, just depending on what challenge you're doing, you are either pressing 1 or pressing 2. The moment you hit 60, you cannot buffer this, so you have to wait and then click. But the problem with this is that it's when question mark appears, it covers your screen with a little bit of darkness, so it can cover vital information like Sprout, like Normal LMode, music bar, the houses, arrows, and mostly eye. So when you're dealing with question mark, I recommend you to not move the cursor of Sprout and first dealing with question mark. With it doesn't have to last more than 0.2 seconds, and then when you enter the next second, you continue the cycle and the movements we discussed earlier. It's important to deal correctly with this character, because it's very easy that you messed up and you forget about I or about whatever you are doing, because it's at first it's very confusing, but with enough practice you can deal with him correctly. One last thing I want to say is that you have to be very patient and do not expect anything about any run. From experience, I experienced a 3 329 seconds dead of a 7-minute run. If I completed the run, it will be an 8-minute, and I have not completed a sprout. This is insanely unlucky. I have completed Normal LMode, I have completed basically number 10 because it will never spawn, but I had the sprout clear in 7 minutes, almost 8 minutes. I was killed ultimately by arrows because I have a 50-50. But what I'm trying to say is that I had really bad sprout pace. So even though I wasn't killed by arrows, I would have been killed by sprout in a 8 minutes run. So yeah, even though you are at, I don't know, even though you are 340, if sprout is not completed or Normal LMode is not completed, or Doom Smile appears, or number 10 appears, you cannot basically celebrate. You don't want to have your expectation high, you want to be happy, because this mode is basically really sad in terms of how was it called? In terms of choking, I myself consider me extremely lucky that I only died at 329 because I was expecting a 359 death from Sprout, or a 369 from death from Normal LMode, or even a 350 or more for any of the characters previously mentioned, or even a death for I because of nerfs. So I consider myself extremely lucky that I don't have that choke. Even though 329 sounds crazy, it is not that crazy. Believe me, this mode has a lot. Like, you are gonna, first of all, reaching second 60 is like extremely easy. You can do this if you play like me. You can do this like in 10 attempts or less, in less than 10 attempts. But reaching second 120, it can be like this, or maybe 50, I think 50. Reaching 240, we are entering here the 500, and going from here, I think it depends. I am not really sure, but we're talking about 2000, 6000, you know. I'm putting this in general because clock basically has the chance to make the night last half, so it can last 3 minutes. If this happens, you're practically dead because of Sprout or Normal LMode. I will say, if you reach 300 seconds and have no time skip, reaching this legit, it maybe cost like reaching this in less than 4 minutes, this maybe cost you 25k attempts. Reaching this in 5 minutes, it will cost you like 17k attempts, and reaching this in more than 5 minutes, actually I think it will be like impossible. Like, if you reach this mark, maybe 200k attempts more. I don't know if you are in this scenario. Sprout and Normal Lenny should be clear and you should win, but it's very likely that you don't win because of because first of all, number 10 is still a thing, Doomsman is still a thing, Arrow's still a thing. The more duration of the night, the more dangerous is Arrows. So even though, in my opinion, this is the ideal case, the ideal case is 6 to 7 minutes, because Sprout and Lomolini will be clear, and since the characters are balanced to be as fair as possible within the 6-minute range, 1 more minute it's manageable and you ensure that Sprout and Lomolini are clear, and in 6 minutes it's the opposite thing. But Lomo, Lenny and Sprout are easy, so these are probably clear, and you have to deal with less than the other characters. Anything above this, it's highly unlikely. In fact, I don't really know why I put this like, oh yeah, I know. It's really unlikely to survive because the other characters are just like impossible. So yeah. One more thing I wanted to say is that I forgot to mention that in my run, for some miracle, I did not open once in the 5 minutes period of the run. I did not open a single time. That's 99 divided by 100 to the power of 60 times 5, which will be 300, and I don't actually know what number is this, so let me calc. Yeah, like 4%. This can happen, although I'm not sure if this is like extremely rare in the context of the run, because in 5 minutes I managed to clear Sprout and clear Lord Mullenny while also having this. I survived 2 number 10 attacks, with the average is 3, but surviving 2, it's like the most likely thing to happen in a winning run. I have good Doom Smile appearance. Arrows, I think I survived 2 50-50s or 3. So basically everything is average except a Sprout that cleared really fast, Lomo Lenny that cleared in average but slightly faster, and well, this. So I just want to make this clear that I am aware of this 4% of I that I have to adapt to my run, but in my opinion I think this is doable. I think this can happen, and I think if a winning run had to have this like occurrence, it will have been mine, because I'm gonna say right now, I died twice more times than I thought I would be dying twice, because I have severely skill issue and I die twice a lot, not because my strat doesn't work, but because first I have very bad luck with music bar, second because I just simply, there were days that I played the game without having any motivation or being very tired, and so I didn't follow really well the intervals, and then I died twice. And when that happens, I tend to get frustrated, to get like really mad, because I was playing a mode with the 1 in a 173k chances of completing self if you play it right, and I was just dying to stupid eye deaths. that was something that bothered me, and I think I think if my victory run, if it was just because I didn't open, because I'm sure if I release the entire recording, I will hit like 12 or 15 times the second interval, and then I will have died twice. I actually recall that in the last 20 seconds maybe I saved music bar, but I hit a interval, so if I appeared there I will have died tragically. I'm glad that didn't happen, but yeah, this game, I really like this game. You know, I made this tutorial because I think some of the characters are not clear enough, and also because I don't like this game called RNG Slop, because I consider RNG Slop the games that you basically don't do anything and you win because of luck. This game actually have some strategy. This game actually have optimizations to your movement. The game actually have character knowledge and use of that knowledge in the night. This game, you know, has a skill, not a lot of skill, but it has a skill, and it's pretty entertaining, pretty fun to play, because if it wasn't, I would never verify it. I don't like to verify things that are like trash. So I don't like that people are calling this game RNG Slop, or just one input game, or whatever those things are meant to be, because this is not that type of game. And I do really want this game to place on the ML, but to be honest, I don't care. I'm just glad that I verified this, I created this, and most of the people that are not that actually played the game were happy with it. Like, some of the people on the Discord say that this was good and it can be placed. They want this to be placed. Some friends of mine that played this game say it's nice, and if it were invited for the RNG, they will try to beat it. I mean, it's normal. And also, I want to clarify something. I may be acting a little bit weird on the thread of this game, because you know, I am really obsessed with RNG stuff, not in the ML but in general. In my time there was this geometry as level. It was called silly RNG block level, where you jump it in a block and it will give you prizes. It was like a gacha but in geometry dash, and I liked that game a lot. It had a Discord server, and I basically unlocked everything from chances from 1 billion above, and I really like it to calculate the odds of certain occurrences, certain events, discussing things, proving the legitness of things, and it was really funny, and that's initially what made me interested into statistics, probabilities, occurrences, odds, you know, everything that it's related to RNG. And when I discovered the ML, that it has a RNG category, I always thought it would be cool to build a top 1 level, or verifying a top 1 mode, or, you know, beating the top 1 mode. But I saw the current top 1 that was now NC, and I got instantly demotivated, because it had multi instances, and I do not really like those. I despise those, so I was really dismotivated. But when it went out of the list, I recovered my motivation, and also it really helped a lot that a mode called RNG Custom Night was removed from the list. I don't know if it was before or after, but I thought it was there because I really like the name of the mode. I do not like the mode because it was trash, but I really like the name, and I think to myself, it would be cool that a game called RNG Custom Night have the top one spot on RNG. It will be fitting, and so when Now and See was removed, I started creating RNG Custom Night not modified. I created it meticulously to have the resources to get placed, and I also wanted to have this gameplay that I explained, so it can be fun to play, not like Now and See or Grand Finale, for example, but Grand Finale at least is one instance game. And when I started to verify it, I had like this fear because breathing with your veins was a thing. Like in the middle of verifying this, breathing your vein was a thing, and then it got removed because of not being enough or something. I don't really remember, but I was scared because my game only had music bar, like a FNAF element, and I thought it would be nice to try to add more FNAF elements, but and when I tried to do it, I basically couldn't, because that's not how my game was made, and so I leave it like that with the risk of not being added to the ML. And I also nerfed it a lot because this game has 1 in 1 trillion chance originally, but that's was impossible, so I nerfed it. But that's like 3 weeks event, like 3 weeks earlier I nerfed it, and then I started re-verifying it. I never completed, so I and then when I verified it, I was like extremely happy, extremely nervous also. I had to go to class in like 20 minutes, and my brain cannot comprehend like what was happening. I just verified like the new top 1 RNG, by far the new top 1 RNG. At the time I thought the mod will have like 1 in 50k because I didn't do the math well, but when I did the math correctly, it had 1 in 150k or more. I didn't expect to be that far from the current top 1, and so I panicked when I wrote that number. When I put that message in the Discord server, I panicked a lot because there's no way I verified an eternal top 1, because I'm convinced that if no one wants to play something in the range of 125k, there's no way there's someone who wants to verify something greater than 160k. So I was panicked. I was, well, if when this gets placed, what do I do? Like, and now I have to do explanation. I have to update the game to be safer, and that's when it hit me, when the staff started talking about this game cannot be placed because it has too little snap elements. It cannot be placed because it's RNG slop, those things. For a brief moment I was upset because I just verified this, and why this cannot be placed? Like, it's literally top 1. It's better than a lot of games. For Music Mayhem, for example, I don't remember the name of that game, but it was like literally 5 music boxes at the same time. It is better than Mar. It has FNAF mechanics. The visuals doesn't matter for what I think, so I was really upset. I became even more upset when I discovered the existence of a game called consume glue, because if that game is placed, why my game can't? Like, are we that serious? But today, like hours later, hours after this, hours before this, uh, I I had a shift in mentality. I thought to myself, dude, you remember when you got 1 in 13 billion in that level of geometry test, and basically the only people that care were the ones in the server, and that's it. This is like the same thing, but the only people that care is you. You know that you verified that, and you know you did that, but in the big specs of things, this is like really not important for you. You did harder things, and they got recognized. If this didn't get recognized or placed in a stupid list, like, it's okay. You did it, and that's nice. And also it's RNG at the end of the day, so you didn't struggle a lot. You're just happy that it's over and you don't have to do it again. So yeah, I don't really care if this gets placed or not. I'm just happy that this exists, and I know this is top 1 out of the ML. So yeah, I'm not insisting. I'm not really in the mood of keep trying to get this placed. This is like the video that I'm gonna post as proof. I'm gonna put a timestamp where I say this is where the tutorial ends. After this is me LARPing about this game, so you don't have to hear it. And then I will post this and then leave it like that. If it gets placed by some miracle, that's nice. If it doesn't get placed, it's okay. I don't care. This is nice. This is really nice. I'm really happy about this game. I know this is not the time for me to be happy because of what is happening outside in my life, but regardless, I'm happy, and that's what it matters. Okay, see y'all, and I hope you like this tutorial that got really transformed into a confessionary of mine. Sorry for my bad English. I'm trying to improve, and I know I don't have accent, but I don't live in a country where I can practice the accent. Most of people doesn't care, but I keep trying. I'm trying. Okay, so see ya.